which means if you guys are new to this, anytime you would go to an NPC to exchange an item, like you want to exchange the crown for the crystal, there's no guarantee. As we see both of our runners getting off, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the crown. So that has been shuffled, as we've got life and harm 4 in the white magic shop. We've got nuke at level 1. Well, there we go, but it's a little expensive for our runners. You're going to be searching chests. There are 4 chests in this game that are going to have some sort of key item in them. So you're going to be chest digging. That thief can provide some value for running away from lower valued fights. So we'll see which one keeps which one keeps the thief and which one ends up taking it out. So we've got the Bible items, the TNT, in the shop for about 13,000. We'll see if that leads to anything.
Yeah, that's going to be a little expensive on their side, so we'll see what happens there. And on Saltyphry, we're seeing just gearing up right now. What do you do? Knowing that you have that nuke early on, I don't think either one of them got them. Do you grind a little bit, hopefully being able to get enough cash to go and buy it, or do you just say whatever?
Yeah, I think they started with 30 or 40 gold, and nuke was 90, so they're going to have to get through one fight. That's going to net them about 200 gold. Under this flag set. The experience rate and the gold rate is 2.4x plus 80. So this fight should net about 195 gold. You see there, that's going to be enough to get 2 party members nuke, or I guess I should say 1 party member nuke. Each one of them only brought 1 potential black magic caster, but that 1 nuke is certainly going to be enough in this case.
Well, the other thing not to overlook is when they promote, when they're going to have the ninja, he's going to be able to cast nuke as well. So that's a huge pickup there.
Definitely. And the biggest question is going to be, where is that tail? Because you want to make sure that thief stays below level 15 so that you can start getting charges as soon as you can while not overshooting those levels. I know, and I've seen Edgeworth play a lot. That's not going to matter to him a whole lot. He's going to find the tail when he finds the tail. And I don't know that I expected to hold back from that thief unless that thief stays dead from this point on.
Was that a death touch we saw on the side?
I think that was just a fairly solid hit. It hit for like 32 damage.
Okay. And by the way, big thanks to Mr. Versetti for taking care of the bottom, where you're going to see he's acting as a tracker, an OPT lawyer, for stepping up big time and taking the reins and getting this restream going. So, you know, give them a little bit of love.
Yeah, definitely helping us set this up kind of at the last minute, kind of jumping in and filling the holes. We much appreciate that. Question in chat, where is Luigi's Mansion? That is going to be on Speed Gaming 8, the Ocho. That is going on right now on the Ocho.
And we're going to have the first visit to Garland. One of my favorite characters, because I really think that he gets a bad rap. I don't know about anyone else. He's just there. He's, you know, all he wants to do is meet this bride, Sarah.
You know, sometimes we take Garland for granted. We spend so much time knocking him down that every so often he'll occasionally knock you down. And when he does, it is so glorious. As we've got the Oxial and the Canal. So we have the Canal, which means our runners are going to be going counterclockwise around this continent. Some of the map changes that have been added to this game for the purpose of this tournament. Finding the Canal means you go from Canaria down to Elfland, in the search for the canoe.
Canoe blocked. So what do you think about this, chat? Can we get a little bit of fun going on here? That they have to grind for that 10,000 gold. Or 13,000 gold.
Oh, that's evil. They only have 2 chests to check. There's only 2 chests to check. They can go to the Dwarf Cave to check the 2 chests in the Dwarf Cave, but you could be absolutely right. That TNT could be holding either the bridge or the canoe,
or even the ship,
in which our runners are gonna have to grind that. Oh,
you can have the ship, the canoe, or the bridge. Chat, buckle up, get some popcorn ready, because, well, it's going to be a fun time.
Oh, man. How long could they... Oh, it really depends on what these 2 chests are. Could it be... There could be a Vorpal Sword. There could be what Will Cleosis calls the quote-unquote game changer. We'll see what it is. 782 and a heal potion. Oh, no!
This is fantastic. So would you grind where they are over here, hoping to get some ogres, or would you go back to fight, imps?
Okay, so let's see here. The toughest monster we're going to get money from is probably the
ogre. They give 100 gold.
I'm thinking it's the ogre. It's got to be the ogres.
And then when you get the party mix of all of those wolves and gerwolves, and that's going to help out as well. But yes,
2 ogre fights good. Right. He's gonna have to do a lot of this because I think this 2 ogre fight's only worth like 400-ish gold. I think, maybe 600. I can't remember.
Yes, and Jay Coper brings up a great point. Yes, having Nuke at an early level, that's gonna be helpful for them to kind of get through these early levels and get to the gold grinding. And it definitely looks as though Edgeworth is going with a 3-party member. A 3-party mix.
Yeah, as we get Saltyphry now realizing that he's out of chests and it's time for a gold grind. I've never seen this before. That the TNT, that an expensive... I'm just thankful, I guess, that it's not max price, because it very well could have been. The randomizer doesn't take that into account in regards to purchasing the item. It only just assumes it's possible. It doesn't assume after, say how long.
So the other question is, what level are they going to get to after getting that 13,000? I'm guessing 9 or 10.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just depends on the sheer volume of fights, because I think there's a good gap between, I think, 6 and 7, or what the difficulty of those fights goes up from about 6 to 7. And so I think, I don't know that they'll get all the way to 9 per se, but I guess it just depends on sheerly how much gold they get from these fights and which ones they take and whatnot. Yeah, Fuchsia Fantasy, just to catch you up, yeah, the Canal and the Oxhill were the 2 given items. The TNT is a purchasable item, and there's no canoe, there's no bridge, so they have to stay in the starting area. Edgeworth is not out of the starting area. He can't get past that without the canoe. You can get across the canal, but you cannot actually continue beyond. This is a first for me, so I don't know about you guys or how your practice has been or anybody else's practice has been when you're playing with these flags, but I have never seen this before to have it locked.
Wow. Yeah, no, first for me too, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, this is just interesting.
Okay, I'm keeping you guys updated as I know. Both of our runners have agreed to a reroll. We're going to see if that's something that ends up happening. Both of our runners have agreed to it. This is going to be a long, lengthy, and ridiculous grind. So bear with us, folks. We're going to get this game re-rolled as fast as we possibly can. Admins are in on the issue. And so we're going to try and whip up a new seed right quick. Bear with us.
So, just to keep pace with the randomizer, Randomania's schedule in making sure that we're not picking up too much time, and for those purposes, that's why we're looking at the reroll. It's similar to what happened last year with a couple of seeds where we had horrible pirates. So.
Yeah, this is something that very rarely we have experienced in this particular issue. In the past, we've had gatekeepers that have been based on how tough they were to fight. Thunder Pirates, for example. in this particular case, we have a time cost gate, if you will, where it's just simply not feasible for our runners to speed run this game in the process of grinding and getting up to that 13,000 gold, 250, 300 gold per fight at a time. And so for the purposes of speed running, it's just not feasible. If you're playing this on your own time, you certainly could, come to the conclusions of how long you want to grind this. But that is certainly not an intended function, or it's not intended behavior of a speed ran game. Oh my. This is not getting any better, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, our new seed has double black belt.
But not being that, it's going to be interesting. So they're going to go fight. What would you do with this mix if this was you?
I'm so torn. On one hand, one of the strategies that's been practiced by a number of our runners, and this goes way back to when 2 force classes started becoming a thing, was the 2-man party, the fighter red mage combo party. You get your fighter and your red mage to 28, even 30 perhaps, just in the sheer course of it, and you hope to have enough charges to just simply survive. The other route is you just level a 42 black belt and you just deal with it, and you support that 42 black belt, and that's just what you do. I'd be torn because I'd almost be tempted to do the 2 black belt strat just because the leveling to 42 black belt, because I don't know that I can personally trust the fighter red mage build. I probably still take that party that Saltyphry is taking right there because it's great overall, but I think my first strategy is probably to think about that 42 black belt, and then see how the spell list sort of fleshes itself out.
Yeah, I would definitely say keep it at the 2 black belt. I would do. I'm a big fan of the grind 1 black belt up, so yeah, I would grind 1 up, especially when they become 1 punch guys. It's fantastic, but definitely having the fighter and the red mage, if not 2 red mages, just for the pure fact of.
If you guys are just joining us, we have a full tilt reroll on our hands. We had a cost prohibitive barrier in the first roll of the seed where a 13,000 gold TNT prohibited our runners from getting out of the starting zone. So instead of grinding to that 13,000, which now sounds preferable, we rerolled the seed and we rerolled it into double black belt. So we are going to see how this seed ends up playing itself out. Fuchsia Fantasy is certainly bringing up in chat that it's difficult to level a 42 black belt given the volume or the experience ratio, that 2.4x plus 80. It would take a very long time. I mean, it would probably take you maybe not a level a minute, but maybe at best 2 levels a minute after 32. So you're talking maybe an extra at least 5 minutes to get that black belt to 42. So it looks like our gatekeeper has opened the gate. We're going to start the race here in about 10 seconds or so. We're going to see what this mess kicks up. If we can just get that timer reset.
All right, chat. Forzando, what are you hoping for?
I mean, as a viewer or as a player? Because certainly as a viewer, I'd kind of be hoping for some entry-level trolliness.
You mean like a 13,000 gold TNT?
But that's pretty bad. So, looks like we've got no good magic in black and Cure 4 in white, and that's about it.
Fog 2 I'm a big fan of, but yes, it's looking like there's no multicast.
and wooden nunchucks as our, like, I mean, as our kind of, well, I mean, you can use iron staffs on, I think you can use them on the black belts. I don't know. I don't normally put weapons on black belts, so. Sleep 2 will help against Garland. Just keeping him asleep, but he really only stays asleep for the 1 round. Houses are kind of expensive at 2,700 there. I don't know that I like that.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of a price increase, but you want to know something? At this point, they'll probably just gladly take it, supposed to have to spend a...
Looks like both of our runners did not have enough money for the inn, which is understandable. They both made about the same moves, so we're going to see if they can get past this imp fight with no trouble.
It's looking like they're trying, and this is just going to buckle up, have some fun. So, what's Saltyphry's party makeup? Do you think he's just gonna Dan and let those 2 black belts go to sleep?
They both are running the same party, and I'm really torn because I know, like, if I had to guess, I'd say certain people would take certain strats. If this were like Minochi, I would assume he would take out both the black belts. Just because I think I've seen him play this 2-class thing. I don't know that I've seen either of our runners play the 2-class, the 2 character thing, but you know, I don't really know because the level 1 spells aren't very good. It really depends on how the rest of the spells shake out. But at this point, I definitely would not go with the 2. You're going to need some better running. You're going to need some ability to get places. So I think I expect those 2 black belts to live until you find out what the rest of the spell list is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. If you come up and whiff on level 2 and level 3 magic, at that point, I think it's you go with that 1 black belt that's you're gonna grind up to probably 32. And then you hope to get some pretty impressive armor and weapons for your fighter.
Hey, look at that. There was about 13,000 gold in those treasure chests.
If it was only last time.
So we're going to see how they approach this Garland fight. It looks like they've got some weapons to try and make some hits. I would have liked to have seen maybe the Slow 2 come out since that Red Mage, or Sleep 2, that Red Mage doesn't really have a whole lot going on. But again, it only really delays him by a turn, so... it looks like he's got halfway decent evasion, is dodging these attacks just a little bit. He's kind of chunking away a little bit. Oh, Red Mage is paralyzed. He wasn't doing anything anyway. Would have been nasty to see Garland coming out with something like Fire 2 or anything like that. Looks like we had Sleep. That's always bad. Oh, Cremate! Oh, no!
Wow. So, yeah, we got that.
I think that's an accidental commentator's curse, because I said Fire 2, and it ended up being Cremate. It's just about the same thing.
And it's the next thing after... Isn't it the next spell after Sleep?
Well, it'd be the first... It's actually the first skill. So, we've got... Oh, we got Slow. That's not very good. So it's actually first skill, but it looks like he has a lower chance to use skills. Probably 1 in 8 or 3 in 16 or so chance to use a skill. It's pretty low. As we got Salty getting through with a canoe and an adamant, which means we don't have a bridge. Oh, you can still go counterclockwise. That chunk of land is still there. So we are going to be going counterclockwise once again. We are going to this time cross the canoe with the river system just fine.
We didn't have Cure for. I think that's a pretty big pickup, as well as Fog 2 on their side.
So this is a little bit of a setback for Edgeworth. Getting that Cremate, that is something Saltyphry did not see, and Saltyphry has made it out of the Garland area. I expect Edgeworth to go outside here and burn another one of his cabins to get a save state. Oh, I guess not. He's going to go right. Oh, he took Garland out. Okay, and then I did not see him take Garland out. So both of our runners have Garland down. Not so bad.
No, definitely. And then he went and got the chest that he missed to get that extra gold.
That's a bit of that was a bit of a risk there, because you don't really know what all the monsters had. You knew zombies had poison touch, but you really didn't know what the rest of the crew had. That's a little bit of a risk there. Salty got the treasures, went outside and saved, and then took on Garland, I think. Or maybe he went right for Garland, and now he's... Nope, okay, he did.
Well, Edge is a confused old man.
That is true, but he is not so confused that he didn't make it to the Final Four of this, so don't take that for granted.
No, definitely. And by the way, chat, any questions, any hope? What do you hope that these dwarfs are going to have with the adamant? What are you thinking? What's your guess? Truly or fun? What's the next item we get? What are you thinking?
Well, we've got 4 loose chests in the world that could be an item. I'd like to see one kind of soon. If it's not 2 in the Dwarf Cave, we're not going to see another chest until they either decide Volcano or Ice Cave, or to head up to Provoca to do the Pirates. The Adamant gets us the crown. So there's going to be a fight with Astos coming up that's going to be probably harder than Garland because of no... Astos has a normally pretty high evasion rate, so we're going to see if our runners end up bypassing. They'll probably go and check, take a save outside of Northwest Castle, see what the item is, and if it's not important, maybe they skip the fight, or... Otherwise, maybe... Oh, nope. Looks like Salty's going to skip it altogether.
And I definitely think Edge is going to poke his head in and see what Astos has. That's what I would do, but yet also I was knocked out early.
Yeah, definitely. Just take a save right outside Northwest Castle. Pop in and see it, because if it's Floater, you know you want to go back for it. If it's the canal, you can skip it altogether. It's knowledge, and I think I would have liked to have seen Salty go and at least take a peek. As the level 3, we've got Fast, which is good for endgame, but not very good for right now. That's not going to help us a whole lot.
It could help with Astos. In Life 2 and Exit as well.
And it looks like Edgeworth is... Did he take a save? He's probably saved a little far. It is the Floater... So Astos is definitely on the list, on the chopping block. We're going to see what our runners do. As we've got Fire 2 and Bane at 4. This increases the likelihood that something good is going to be at Provoca. That's something useful is going to be at Provoca.
And Brack.
So, Brack has a naturally, I think, 9% chance to land on Astos, which can be helpful if you're just, you know... save scrubbing and just trying to throw yourself at him.
Just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That's the theory out there. See if you can get a better weapon coming in. Yeah, he does have access to, the silver dagger and the large dagger, so I'd probably go with the silver.
Yeah, and that's a really tough call, because if you feel like you can melee him with fast, it's great. But like I said, Astos does have a higher than normal evasion rating. So if you go in there and you're just kind of chunking, you're hoping for crits. You kind of hope to get them, but you don't really have that. You really don't have that Thief. I think Thief has the highest potential crit with those daggers, and so you're kind of just praying and hoping for crits for low damage. I'm really torn. I'm really torn because I feel like melee is not going to get the job done. But I don't know. I think maybe you go take a look at Provoca. If you're Edgeworth, that's a huge amount of information that you know it's the Floater. You got Fade at level 4. That's good. And that's great because it's in a red mage spot. He just needs to get to level, I think, 11 to be able to use that spell.
Yes.
So it's going to be a little time.
By the way. Down at the bottom, you're going to see the tracker, and you'll see who they spoke with and what incentivized item they've already got. No, the rando loves us. The randomizer gods love us tonight because they're giving us what we've all asked for. Very truly.
Definitely. And we want to update you guys in case you were not watching the other semifinal match between Ice Blue and Arson Horse. That match has finished with Ice Blue taking game 1 over Arson Horse in a very close match. So GG to Ice Blue. That is game 1 in the pocket for him at a best of 3. This is the other side of the bracket where we have Edgeworth and Saltyphry in their game 1 of their first semifinal matchup. in which the first seed was a Gatekeeper TNT in the item shop. Never thought I'd say that, but there's always a first time for everything. Second seed rolls to double black belt, so it's definitely been a fun night already.
Looks like he hit the same encounter pattern the entire time. On Edge's side. He's just trying to save Scrub, but it's not working for him right now.
Yeah, I think he may have misplaced where the long run is. You see where he power cycled. Power cycling resets the encounter table. And so he's looking for that long run at the beginning, and it looks like it's the 5th encounter. The 5th encounter is a semi-decent long run. But that is a lot of resets to get to a 5th encounter. That's not really worth.
Oh, we've seen Saltyphry go to Astos. Let's see if he's able to take down Astos. I don't know if he was able to grind up a little bit and get a cast of Fade. Looks like no.
Yeah, see that fast, you're not going to be able to use it until level 8. On the red mage, so it's just saber buffs for that red mage there, and he has paralysis touch.
Looks like
and hits a little hard.
Is available to the red mage.
Fire 3 will get the job done early, but if that's all that's there, this is a pretty poor magic seed. Oh, and the stun lock comes in. Salty at least knows it's a floater. He's gonna take another shot at this. Got the silver sword available. That's actually something that is a little underrated right now. That silver sword can be a good pickup in the Provoca weapon shop. It's going to be one of the best swords fighter can use until you start finding some treasures.
No, definitely. And it's looking like now, with the Fire 3 cast, he's going to cut through these pirates. Makes it a little bit easier for him. And
yeah, that evasion...
sorry.
I was going to say, yep, that evasion kicks in on Astos.
As we both talk over each other twice. My bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
There's your TNT. Now the slow, long walk back.
Well, this is going to benefit Edgeworth huge because if Salty can get out of this fight, which it's not looking good, if Salty can get out of this fight, which it's, yeah... Edgeworth has the advantage of knowing it's the floater and going and getting the floater and potentially going and turning in the TNT while in the similar zone. Salty kind of throwing himself at this wall. Astos by default, I'm trying to remember, is 180-something hit points, 100-something hit points by default, and that can go up to 200%. Or down to 50%. So you can get lucky and he has less than 100 hit points, or you can get unlucky and he has over 300. And it definitely is not looking like Salty is really making the threshold to start even doing some damage to him.
Yeah, no, it looks like he's just swinging and miss. How many more times did you try? Would you have just said...
I wouldn't. I'd have stopped. Because it doesn't even look like... You can't feel like you're even getting close. I mean, you may not know what the value is, but knowing what the hit rate is and how often you're hitting... I would not have the hope that I could take this fight down. And as somebody who has meleeed Astos in this tournament, just like this, I know that the hope really shouldn't be there. I can't expect him to get over this fight by melee.
That's the interesting thing. Is he close enough that he could grind a little bit and be able to cast one of his upper level magics, or just continue to throw himself? It's still missing.
It's tough because you gotta get to, I think it's 8. You have to get to 8 to be able to cast that fast. And even then, that just gives you extra hits with the attempt to overcome the evasion. That doesn't really actually increase your accuracy.
No, definitely. Do you think
Oh!
Sorry, I missed that.
Wow, that was some kind of crit there. He hit for 230. He must have nailed that saber and got that hit in there. Hits for 230. Finally gets over Astos. Shock and awe.
That's a big get for him on his side. I'd say for the moment, as long as he makes it through the rest of this, lead is his. Because now he'll have access to that ship and be able to fly around.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get to cover ground that Edgeworth has to walk back on. Only taking one trip and going into the floater and then flying back when he goes and does the pirates and sees the TNT, whereas Edgeworth is probably going to be walking, and he's going to walk all the way back to Astos and then all the way back to the floater location. This actually does swing the momentum in Saltyphry's favor.
No, definitely. And walking is so much slower, and as you can see, it's not going to be too kind to Edgeworth as he's on his way. You have Saltyphry almost there to turn in floater right now, so...
Well, I do expect the fight to go a lot more smoothly for Edgeworth. Just with Fire 3, you should be able to take him out in at least 1, if not 2 rounds.
Oh, Salty was so close, but forgot to save on his way over there. You are correct, Fuchsia, as soon as he does that, but he'll save a lot of time by not having to walk all that way and deal with the same encounters that Edgeworth has had to.
Yeah, Edgeworth took the canoe all the way up to Provoca and back. That's really going to be the difference here in the routing. But Edgeworth, I guess maybe... It played more of a safe play. Had to find out what the level 2 spells were. Saltyphry took a bigger risk with just Saber and a Silver Dagger facing Astos, and the gambling comes up Saltyphry by a bit, actually, now, because he's going to get to do all this exploring, whereas Edgeworth is going to be doing a lot of walking here.
Yeah, by the time that Edgeworth turns in his floater to get the airship, I'll say that we'll have Saltyphry having done most of the overall exploration.
Yeah, I mean, I almost put him at 3 or 4 minutes at this point, just by that gamble and taking the melee with Saber. Yeah, I almost put him at 3 or 4 minutes ahead, just by the sheer walking Edgeworth has to do to get back.
No, definitely.
So we've got our loot.
More. Yep, the loot there. That's another massively required item that can sometimes be overlooked in this. How many times has someone gotten to the Temple of Fiends Revisited and not had the little ukulele to play? And Astos is down on Edgeworth's side, so we'll start the timer as soon as Saltyphry knocks out Binky and Blinky for the pirates. We're never going to call him now.
Because Edgeworth has done all of this already. He has done all of the shopping and Bicky and all the things that he's needed to do. So if Saltyphry spends an inordinate amount of time here, the advantage will be when Salty comes out of Provoca and how long does it take for Edgeworth to step on the floater tile. That's really about the lead that's going to be. And it looks like it's actually going to be quite a bit less than I had previously forecasted, as I had not really accounted for all the shopping that goes on when you get to a new town.
Well, also, I don't believe, remember, I don't believe Edgeworth went and got the loot just yet.
While that's true, like Salty, that's going to be a quick stop in the process. That's going to be less than 30 seconds if he just goes and beelines it right for the sages.
So we're going to start the timer at, say, like 19 minutes and 10 seconds and see where it goes from there. I'm guessing probably like about a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the encounter rates and stuff like that, but yeah, it looks like you're probably right. And actually, probably you could look at it not when he picks up his floater, but rather when he gets the TNT from the sages. Or, I'm sorry, the loot from the sages. As we got the slab pickup in Sarda. Which is great find. You can go ahead and translate that while we are here. Yes, Trenton. No math on Twitch. Thank you.
You've been spoken to about that? Uh-oh. But math on Twitch is fun. Come on.
So we're still looking for 4 random chests out in the world. The more key items our runners find, the more likely that the treasure chests we're looking for are not going to contain potentially not going to contain items we need. Because at this point, the bridge is useless, the canal is useless, the ruby is nearly useless. So we're going to see where those items end up popping up.
Feed that guy. Feed that Titan his ruby. He needs that ruby.
Oh, you mean that welfare queen?
Give the Titan the ruby. Come on, man.
So we got a flame armor pickup. That's fairly solid for this point in the game. Gives the armor a good bit of... the fighter a good bit of armor. So, good pickup in Cardi Island so far.
So, Link, great question. What is a randomizer? So we all know and love this game. Well, most of us, I would hope you are sitting here watching this and finding some bit of nostalgia. It's 30 plus years old. So what the randomizer does is it will randomize, skills that the enemies will have, spells that the enemies will have, as well as, hit points, experience, how hard they are to take down, as well as it will take every single chest, kind of shuffle up in the bag, and slap them back in random order. So you could open up at any point in time the Massive Moon, and then what it will also do in these flag sets is take certain key incentivized items, such as we've seen the loot, the floater, the crown, and place them with different people. So previously where you would get the crown in a chest behind the wizards, it was given to us by someone else.
Speaking of giving things to somebody else, Narek, in his power to maintain and not blow himself up with the fireworks, hands out the crystal. So we're going to see what Matoya has here shortly. As Edgeworth goes ahead and pops into Matoya's cave. He's going to regret that slightly when he realizes he's going to see the crystal coming up. So we're getting our first look at level 5 spells. We've got Wall, fairly solid at level 5. That is within the Red Mage's power to use. We have Temper at 5 as well, also within the Red Mage's power to use. So good pickups for level 5. Our runners are definitely going to get levels. You were asking earlier about those time things, and BugCSA pointing out in chat, it is actually 2 minutes and 10 seconds apart between our two runners. They may be high-fiving right now, but in terms of progression and things that they have gone through, Saltyphry is up by about 2 minutes or so on Edgeworth. So we'll see what happens in the coming runs. 2 minutes is nothing in comparison to what will happen coming up in Temple of Fiends Revisited, potentially. As we're going to take a look at what Matoya's key item is.
I say a boat. Could be a boat. It's a boat.
It is not a boat. It is a canal. So we have now hit our first womp womp kind of the race here. Unfortunately, that canal is pretty well useless now that we have our airship. Because we have Edgeworth.
Canal lives matter. You gotta make canals great again.
So we got Saltyphry making the trek here. We've got the Tyro. It looks like he's running from the Tyro.
Boo that. Boo Saltyphry. Boo Saltyphry. I am all about Team Steak.
See, I think the problem in this particular case with this spell set and the way these things are let out is Team Tyro bites back in this particular case. I actually don't think he had what it took to take that fight. That might be prudent on his part to live and kill a Tyro another day.
Tyro food, not friend. So where would be your next play? We got Edgeworth going to Volcano. Would you go into Volcano or Ice or to Ordeals?
I probably go Ordeals first. Ordeals tends to be a little more simpler than Ice Cave in terms of its layout, its monsters. Fire 3 works very well in Castle Ordeals on just about everything except the Gargoyles, which he's going to have that problem with here in the Volcano as well. With your lead spell being Fire 3 until you get those charges of Fade, which is 11, you're really not going to be able to kill too many things in the Volcano easily. On the flip side, you will be able to check a fairly large amount of chests with the Exit spell. So you could just check B2 and pop out ahead somewhere else. Hopefully you'll come out with a level or two and whatever the armory is stocked full of.
Looks like we got Saltyphry running down to talk to the Toga Party people.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'd like the Castle Ordeals play. We know the canal's off the table. With the canal being off the table, there's still a healthy amount of good items in the pool. As we've got a ribbon pickup, that is going to be something both of our runners are going to find. That is an easily accessible chest.
Toga, 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 toga.
Yep. We got Power Gauntlet finding.
Yes, the Bunk Glove. That's a huge pickup. And the Defense Sword. Okay. That right there, those two items are going to be helpful come the long run.
Oh, and it's the Ruby. Oh, and he is going to walk this out. The Ruby only gets you access to 4 treasure chests with the floater. So unless those 4 treasure chests yield something awesome... Help me out, chat. The game with the... Press your luck. What were the monkeys called?
Whammies?
Whammies, that's what it is. That might be what this Ruby is here. But we've got a fairly solid haul. Yes, Artie Platypus definitely pointing out. Welcome, Artie Platypus. Good to see you again. Pointing out that the armory was fairly stacked. You're absolutely right. The armory is fairly well stacked. Only a handful of those things are really, per se, usable. It was really that ribbon is kind of usable now on that red mage to keep people up, or at least bringing them back to life. I expect him to move on, find some other realm. I actually expect him to go to Castle Ordeals here. Fire 3 just makes that much more possible, and you gotta get that red mage to 11 to be able to use Fade. 12 to get 2 charges of Fade. You want to get that before you go anywhere else.
By the way, Demarine, thank you for the 2-month subscription to Randomania.
Yeah, what is up? What is up, Demarine? Coming in. She was casting the Ice Blue Arson Horse match. So I'll do a recap. Yes, recap coming right now. So this is seed number 2 of game number 1. Seed number 1 had a 13,000 gold TNT that was a gatekeeper for our runners. They could not raise the 13,000 gold, 200 gold at a time. Seed number 2 generated 2 black belts. So this is what our runners have come down to. Fire 3 is the best black magic spell in the first 5 levels, counting Temper. You do get Temper, but Fire 3 is the best black magic spell for damage in the first 5 levels. Fade is at level 4. Both of our runners brought a red mage, so it's going to be interesting as we have the Welfare Queen feeding on Saltyphry side. We're going to see if these items are worth it.
No, we're giving them that to send home. Bane Sword, the best sword. Bane strats, best strats. Yeah. You heard it here first.
So that was a bust.
Well, you do not call the Bane Sword a bust. I mean, we've all baned Tiamat once or twice or too many times.
It is very true. It does have its uses. It will give you free charges of Bane when you get to like the Chaos fight to get that 1.5% chance to kill him.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So, and yes, thank you. Artie Platypus is always on top of what everybody has seen, pointing out Lit 3 is at 6. So Ice 3 and Nuke are both level 7 or 8. Fade at 4 means early on it's going to be a little tough for our runners. I really want to see the Castle Ordeals play here just because Fire 3 is halfway decent for that dungeon.
All right, chat and Forzando, what do you think? Bane Sword, trash? Oh, sorry, Vorpal Sword. Is it trash or trash?
It is the world's sharpest trash can.
There we go. Anti-Bane Swords. People call it the game changer. I call it the game changer of, yeah, well, it just goes in the trash.
If you literally had nothing else, the Vorpal Sword is serviceable, and that is literally the best thing I can say about it.
So I think I've even dropped the Vorpal Sword in my race against Rainbow Puga one day. Just because.
I would have liked to have seen the Vorpal Sword in the Dwarf Cave, forcing our runners to sell it.
Well, that's all the Vorpal Sword's worth, is gold.
Oh, and sometimes it's worth trash gold too. So you know, it doesn't even get better that way. So Edgeworth is actually taking a little bit of an out-of-the-box play for Edgeworth. He usually doesn't like coming here without the tail, but I think he realizes he really does not have much to play with, and so he is checking Cardia Islands without the tail just to see if there's something here he might be able to use, a big weapon of some, like hopefully a mass immune. We are still looking for the 4 items in treasure chest as Salty's struggling here in the ice cave. Boy, struggle is just a good way to describe how this whole night has gone.
It has not been too friendly, chat. Hopefully you're having some fun. We're getting Edge going to do my favorite play, it appears, and going to Ordeals. Chat,
I think you got to do this.
Orlando, what do you think is in Ordeals?
I'm just looking over this list of things that it could be here, and I'm thinking a pro for our runners at this point would probably be the Mystic Key. It would give them access to more items, more potential. Realistically, you know, it could be any one of the fetch items. It could be a bottle. It could be an herb. We still need to see those.
Yeah, it could be a ship in a box.
And it looks like Salty is this looks like Salty's giving up on the Ice Cave and making the play for Castle Ordeals. Ice Cave is not terrible, but I really like the levels that you get from Castle Ordeals. When Fire 3 is your only spell, it does make the wizards really, really tough, because the wizards are only really responsive to lightning spells.
I believe they've already gotten... No, it was the canal that they've gotten.
Yeah, they could still find the ship, though. I think that's... they could still find the ship. They could still find something... They could find the bridge. They could find something useless in here. It is certainly possible.
Yeah, you got ship, bridge, bottle, oxyale, key, crown... No, wait, not crown. Key, herb, tail, rod.
And chime cube.
Chime. And cube. And
did you mention the tail?
Yes.
Okay, then yes. And we have not seen the Bible item yet either, so it looks like the Bible item, unless I've missed it, Chad, help me out, but I don't think I've seen the Bible item yet. It could be on it's somewhere, hopefully on the North Continent.
Till we get a vanilla bottle. That would be fun.
So the Zombies and the Mummy fights are kind of what make the Fire 3 spell a little more attractive for this dungeon. It's really why I like it. I really would like to see more of this fight taken, or unless Edgeworth is holding back here, both of our runners could be holding back here for the zombie dragon fight down at the end, though you could just exit out when you get this. Oh, I almost want to see Edgeworth take that fight. I know the wizards aren't worth as much. One wizard mummy's good. You just anything to get out of this dungeon at level 11.
I think they're both just trying to not get overly lost with the shuffle pillars. For those new in chat, why don't you kind of describe that, Orzondo, what the shuffle pillars do?
Yeah, sure. So in the old game, if you guys remember, the rule of Castle Ordeals was always to take the southernmost pillar at any particular guess. When the Final Fantasy Randomizer came around, it shuffled all of the pillar transport locations. But in the early days, if you took too many pillars, the game would soft lock itself, preventing, once you made it through, if you went into your menu, it would lock your game and you would be really, really sad. Now, thanks to Troper Zero, and I think Nits also helped fix this particular issue. Forgive me if I missed a developer that helped. That soft lock is no longer prevalent. You can touch as many warp tiles as you possibly can to your heart's content, but they are all shuffled, so every decision that you make has a chance to shuffle you around. We've got Edgeworth through, we've got Saltyphry through, we've got an Opal Bracelet sighting. That's a good pickup.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the best armors that they'll be able to have on the red mages for the time being. And it looks like they're both going with the 2 party member strats. All right, chat, what do you think? What's in this incentivized location? I say ship.
Oh, it's a bottle.
Who leaves a bottle in a random chest?
Maybe there's a message inside of it. I don't know. Salty had up to a 2.
Maybe sending out an SOS.
Maybe.
A message in a bottle. Sending out an SOS. Oh, come on! I give you.
No, I was gonna let you go.
Oh no, I can't sing. Come on.
I was just gonna let you go with that. Final Fantasy Randomizer is a game for old people, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got Salty taking the zombie defight. Oh, and they've got Squint. Oh no, he's got Fade on that red mage, thankfully, but that Squint was a little rough. Now that red mage has sufficient levels. It might have been level 10 to get that. I don't know. He may have had the 11 that he needed. He's got the life to charge. Saltyphry had a 2-minute lead at one point, mostly because of the gamble to fight Astos early and get the floater, whereas Edgeworth sailed around the world for a spell that would ensure Astos' death. But I think all the suiciding in the ice cave Salty did, which now Salty has relented that lead, and now it's actually pretty close between our two runners. I mean, not but 2 minutes isn't close.
Time. Looks like it was a chime that was the item that for purchase, and not too bad either.
No, this is definitely a good price for runners. But at this point, I know Edgeworth hasn't seen the ice cave yet, but given the spell list, unless he feels like Fade's going to carry him, I almost expect him to go to the ice cave and see some of the woes. So we'll see how long it potentially takes Edgeworth to get through the ice cave. I'm almost expect Salty to go back now that he's got some levels on that red mage that has more Fade charges. We're going to see what the fairy's got here. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like they have to go back there because that's going to give them an incentivized item, and they're kind of locked at this point.
So we still have not found a single key item in a chest, and we now only have one technically useless item left in the pool, and it is the bridge. So if the bridge happens to be in a chest, there are at least 3 potentially necessary items. I say potentially necessary because it's going to be an argument of whether or not the tail is necessary, but the tail is in the pool. Potentially 3 necessary items in chests somewhere around the world. So it's going to be interesting to see what those are and where they're located. As we get a look at level 7 black here, Warp and Nuke. That Warp is actually in the Red Mage, Red Wizard slot. Nuke, however, is not.
Yeah, the level they're going to have to get to get that, it's just not, it's not going to work.
Oh, and Edgeworth is going to walk out and go turn in his Ruby as well, it looks like. Can't risk the 4 chests not being something at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say at this point you kind of have to, because, you know, you hit it right there in your head where we're going to be looking for a bunch of stuff in chests now that any 4 chests, it's going to be a no stone unturned type of run now.
Yeah, and right now it's about a 15 to 20 second lead for Saltyphry, which is basically nothing in this game. So our runners are very close, nearly neck and neck. It looks like Salty's going to hit up Waterfall Cave and see what is over there.
Yeah, and this is the last free item, correct?
I think you still got to get to the end of Ice Cave, because I don't think Salty made it to the end of Ice Cave. He gave up on the Blaze Wizards. I think. Yeah, I didn't see it, but oh, how salty would our runners be, no pun intended, if the bridge were at the end of the ice cave?
That would be hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure I'd be laughing the entire time. All right, so what do you think our friendly robot is gonna have? In chat, what's your guess? What does the friendly robot have?
Yeah, chat, go ahead and get those guesses in now. I am going to say vanilla. We usually need one vanilla item somewhere in the game, and I think this might be the vanilla cube right here, as we got an ice sword pickup on Edgeworth's side. That's a pretty solid pickup at this point.
We got a rod guess by Hager Canuck. We got a bridge. You know what? I'm going to side with the bridge. I'm going to say the bridge is just going to troll him right now.
The bridge would be an interesting pickup, because then you'll have 4 potentially necessary items in chests. The bridge pickup would open some doors. to some interesting places. We got a few tail guesses in chat. That would be great for our runners to go ahead and pick that up now. Make sure Fighter doesn't cross that level 15 threshold without starting to get some spell charges. That would be a positive thing for our runners. We don't want that.
So my question is, if you come up and you got nothing in the ice cave, do you go in the marsh? Do you dip
No,
your
I
toe
think
down
you
there?
still have. I think you still have chances in good locations. You still have chances in good locations to find some potentially good items. If this turns out to be the bridge, you still have what Edgeworth is doing right now. You still have Volcano B4. Edgeworth doesn't know this, but you do still have... we have Trance Giants. That's not good. You do have B4 Volcano. You have Ice Cave. Edgeworth doesn't know how bad Ice Cave is, but that's got to be in your mind. You got to go to Ice Cave before Marsh Cave at this point.
Good evening. You're just in time to see what our friendly robot has.
Got to take this fight. I like it. Three wizard mummies. So long as this isn't a 117 hit points. Solid low HP on those wizard mummies.
Yeah, with the cast of Fire 3, he'll be pretty happy with this.
I almost would have attacked the bird because that's Fire 3 is not going to hit for a whole lot on the bird.
But with one more attack, Perilous goes down.
Here we go, folks. Oh, no, it is the bridge.
The trolling is real.
Oh, and he dumped the black shirt, too. Not that he could equip it. It would only give him a free ice, too. But he did dump the black shirt. I thought they would have had exit. I would have at least exited out of that. He should have exited at 2, 3. If I remember right, because I'm pretty sure I've seen it used. There's Massa and B4.
Put it on the red mage. Are we gonna see an by the way?
Thank you, Fuchsia, pointing out to me that there is no exit in this. I thought Salty had exit because I'm thinking of the very first seed that we had to re-roll. I think that did have exit at level 1.
No, I definitely think you're right. Oh, and the Sun Sword pickup.
Yeah, and we got a trash can sighting, apparently. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. People are actually saying Mass Mutant is the real game changer. You were absolutely right, chat.
Chat.
The real game
people.
changer.
So here's a question. Would you put the Massa on the fighter and the Sun on the red mage? Or would you keep it as it is right now? Massa on red mage and Sun on fighter.
Man, that's a good question, because at this point you're trying to optimize your damage. You're trying to optimize your melee damage because your spell damage is just nearly non-existent, especially when you're in the volcano. I think you got to put that Massa on red wizard. You're on red mage because I think you're gonna bring a better balance. Maybe you switch those for carry. To put it on your higher survivability character, and you try to use Power Gauntlet to buff that up, or what have you. For trash fights, yeah, Massa on red mage, but I think you switch those when you get to carry. Oh, we got Excalibur. Oh, and he noped out of it. He might go back for it later. We'll see. He just noped out of the Excalibur, which is fine, I guess, because no exit, and you don't have the tail yet. We don't know where the tail is. And leaving no stone unturned, we're going to go check this red D chest.
Because everyone loves the red dragon. Get your mind out of the gutter, people.
You know, speaking of mines in the gutter, almost guaranteed we're gonna need all 4 items, whatever they are. There is a high likelihood that we are going to get to go see your ladies tonight.
Yes, I like it. Some people, I guess I have to fight Rainbow Poogle over them, but We'll go with the original. They are my ladies. Oh, and
we had a small problem here. We have a real small problem here. That fighter was in a little bit of danger there. Ooh, we've got nothing. We got nothing. We have the Excalibur on the first floor.
He's doing a grind. Nope, no grind. Now, if you were in Edgeworth's situation, would you run out and bring back the red mage, or just say, you know what, I'm gonna go for it?
No, I'd go for it. I'd go for it right here. I'd probably throw up 2 defense sword charges, 2 bonks, throw the ribbon on him, and just pray, because ribbon should protect you from thunder or anything huge. Throwing up enough defense swords should protect you from melee. I think you go for this.
And I think you're right. I think that's going to happen. There's the first defense. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
3 hits for 8. This is fine. Yeah, you just got to go for this. Yeah, you don't even need bonk charges, I suppose, at this point with Massa. Carrie's got a little bit of higher hit points than usual. As we have Edgeworth lighting his first orb. I don't even know if the time's correct because we're so in the middle of all this, but Edgeworth is the first to light an orb, getting that fire orb right there. All right, so to a smaller update on at least what I'm tracking, items we are still missing is the key, the rod, the cube, the herb, and the tail. We have the ice cave incentive and 4 chests to check, potentially. Somewhere in the world are 4 chests. We are taking Edgeworth now through the ice cave. Thank you to our restreamer OTP lawyer who is OPT lawyer who is handling all this stuff on the ball. Tells me the timer is on track.
Perfect. So yes, what do you think is going to be in Ice Cave? You know what? I'm going to say the tail is here.
Being told by our esteemed chat, the rod was found in Mirage. I guess because Salty dumped it, I didn't think there was anything up there. I don't know that you need to walk that out at this point, potentially. It's all going to depend on where that is.
Yep, and the rod was there, so that's leaving us with the tail, herb, key, and not chime.
Cube.
Cube. So that's 3 chest spots, and then 1 incentivized spot down here. With no warp, we're gonna see the long way. We're gonna see the long way around. A second bridge. If that would be possible, it would be fantastic. I would love to see a second bridge.
Yeah, man, at this point, literally everything is usable from this point on. Even if you were to say the tail is like, oh, they get down there, it's the tail. The tail is still pretty useful. You're going to get that fade. You're not going to get that fade on night, but you're going to have access to some spells on night that can help you out down the long run. Plus, you're going to get to start using some of that armor and stuff like that you have found, potentially. Although I don't recall. He can. Edgeworth doesn't know where the Excalibur is just yet. But yes, that would be a good pickup even when he eventually makes his way to getting that.
I mean, I don't think that's even bad at all, is having the Excalibur on the fighter and then the Massa on the red mage. Or the red wizard at that point. But yeah, that would just be... It would be awesome.
So, question in chat: would you even bother revive either of the black belts or both? Temple of Fiends, you probably want to, if your life charges are going to allow you to sustain it. I think we had life 2 at 3, so you're going to get a resounding maybe from me from that. But when you get to like Kraken 2, you are going to want something that could potentially eat the first hit of something before you get your Invis charge down, you get your Ruse charge down, whatever it is that you end up doing. You're just going to get a maybe from me on that one. But leveling them, nah.
I'd say save your precious resources and don't use life. If you have, at that point, you got your guys up, you got your light warriors leveled up high enough, then yeah, they'll be able to withstand it.
Yeah, and to respond to Elastoid, you're absolutely right. If you were going to level a black belt, you do want to get them the levels before they do the class change. That is a function of Final Fantasy that was never changed for Final Fantasy Randomizer to keep it somewhat pure. And yes, that is in their magic defense. They actually lose more magic defense per level, or they gain more magic defense per level as a black belt than they do as a master. And so you do want to keep that black belt up as long as you can before you tail. But I think neither of our runners are going to opt for black belt strategy, so it's more likely they're going to stay dead. If they gain any levels, it's to maybe absorb a lit 2 or absorb a fire 2 or something that a fiend might toss out to avoid that first opening hit.
All right, let's see what these 6 chests typically may. They've turned out lucky in the past, so let's see what these guys got.
And we got Czar in the house with the ad revenue 4 bits. Czar, welcome to your masterpiece here of the semifinals of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. As we've got Salty picking up his Mass Immune.
Another ribbon on Edge's side, which will be huge for them both. Now both of his Light Warriors have ribbons, which is very nice. All right, so what do you think is going to be in this chest?
Realistically, I think if it's the key, that's probably a huge benefit. You could check more chests. If it's the herb, that just knocks out the last of the fetch quests that you have to do.
Tail. I say tail. I vote it's tail. Oxiel!
Oh, did I not? Oh, I must have had that crossed off from my notes. My apologies. I think I have an extra item that I didn't account for.
Well, no, it makes sense because with no Oxiel, now we have left herb, key, and tail.
Oh, you're right. Oh, and cube. And right, one of the herb is going to be in a chest that is going to lead to one of the other 3 items. Yep. Okay, so nope, I have it right now. We're all good.
I have a feeling we are going to be seeing the ladies tonight.
It might be the next. It might be the next logical place our runners end up going to. Salty is probably, I'd say, almost. I don't want to cross this with commentator's curse, but Saltyphry is almost pretty behind at this point. Potentially, because Salty, I don't think, has made it through. Salty does not have that Oxiel, and so he hasn't been through the ice cave. He struggled going through the ice cave, whereas Edgeworth kind of plowed through it first try. So that's what set Salty back a little bit. So not only does Edgeworth have that fire orb, but he also has the end of the ice cave, which Salty does not have either yet.
Salty has gone through, gotten the crystal, as well as went and visited the friendly robot. So it will be very interesting. He's kind of ahead there, so I'd say it's a push at this point, or just shortly behind.
It's going to depend on how the routing ends up going, because see, now Edgeworth can check Waterfall Cave and then go to ice, or go to sea, whereas Salty did a kind of a blind check of Waterfall and then had to leave the region altogether, and then we'll have to go back later when he turns on, he gets his Oxiel. So little routing differences are going to set him back just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have Edge turn in the crystal and be almost caught up to where Salty is. So, yeah, this will be very interesting now. Only one more Fesquatch item left.
Yeah, and it's definitely in a chest somewhere. We are out of incentivized locations. We have 4 items. One of them's a fetch. And then 2 other items will be located in chests somewhere in the world. They could be deep in Earth Cave. Who knows? We're missing the rod and the cube and the key. Or I'm sorry, we're missing the key and the cube as far as progression goes. So who knows? Earth Cave is unfortunately officially now on the table.
There's always Marsh Cave.
There is always Marsh Cave. You know what? It's possible. It is possible that it could be Marsh Cave.
Chat, can we get some Marsh Cave love up in here? We're getting some Marsh Cave hate up in here. Be very interesting.
So Edgeworth is about to realize there's nothing at the end of this waterfall cave as he is diving in. But he's going to be able to go right to Sea Shrine with this. So that is going to be a small routing advantage for Edgeworth. And sometimes these little things are going to add up. As Salty now making his way back to the ice cave.
I think Salty will have cut through this like butter with the levels and the armor, or the levels and the weapon that he has now, or that she has now.
Yeah, I think Salty tried to get some levels in those black belts, just did not happen.
It's fine. Do they really need to have some levels on the black belt? Nah, they can just stay at 3 and be some more of meat shields.
I mean, the only, like I said, I think I mentioned it earlier, the only reason you may want some more levels and you want to get them to maybe 8, 9, 11, what have you, is if a fiend casts like Lit 2 or Fire 2 or something as a warm-up, the 2 black belts would not survive without at least a handful of levels. Having those levels at least allows you to survive potentially long enough to take one of those melee hits. And that could be vital. It could help you an extra turn.
Alright, we're going to see if the black shirt is enough to make Edge run out.
It shouldn't be. With no exit, black shirt is probably not good enough.
And there's a reset. What are the other multicast items that Edge will have throughout this? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, given the time and the effort it takes to run that out, I don't think getting free casts of Ice 2 is worth it. Had he had exit, warp, whatever, by all means, keep it, because you certainly could use free charges, especially of Ice 2, if you happen to hit waters that you need to fight or something like that. Gives you something different from Fire that doesn't waste your Fade charges. Because, I mean, Magic has been... Yeah, Magic has been absolutely poor.
With nothing here for Magic. Oh, is Edge going to go left or right? Looks like he's going right.
Oh, he's heading right. We're going to go see the ladies. Let's get some hype in the chat for the ladies.
Can we get a little bit of fun for the ladies' night tonight? Yes. Alright, time to slow it on down, put on that Barry Manilow, and go see those mermaids.
Ladies drink free in the grotto tonight.
First round's on me, ladies. Let's go. I don't care if you have a tail. It's all the better. Well, what else would I play besides Barry Manilow?
Barry White?
Oh, Barry White. That's right, Barry White. Or the other one could be... Smooth Jazz by Kenny G.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Artie Plata was pointing out in chat. What happens in Ladies' Night if the tail is down there? You will be getting some tail, or at least our runners will be getting some tail, potentially. All right, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. Say hi to the ladies. Let us see what is down here.
Yes. All right, chat. Do they have anything down here? As we're making you uncomfortable, the sounds that are coming out.
6 chests in. So far, nothing. We're about halfway through.
Yes, the mermaids are new. The Mermaid Society is known for their spell casting. They cast a spell upon my heart. Yes. And their linguistics. The way they talk is awesome.
Oh, and we do have a sighting in the ladies. It is the Mystic Key.
No, it's not the Mystic Key. That's the key to my heart.
Oh, yes. All right, for Minochi85, welcome into the chat. It is the 1 hour mark. Let us go ahead and do a recap. This is seed number 2 of game number 1. Seed number 1 had a 13,000 gold TNT in Canaria with no way to get it without needlessly grinding ogres to a bloody pulp. So we threw that in the trash along with the Vorpal Sword, and we re-rolled the seed into this fine seed right here with 2 black belts forced, getting that sweet fighter red mage 2-person combo. It's been a fairly straightforward seed with nothing particularly nasty, with the exception of Blaze Wizards gave Saltyphry some trouble on his first pass to the ice cave, and that's about the difference in our runners. Is Edgeworth was able to light his orb first and clear the ice cave before Saltyphry was able to do either of those. That is about your gap at this point, as Saltyphry is picking up his 2nd ribbon.
And he can actually check that fun chest over there.
Yes, he can. That freaking chest. Please be something. Please be something. I'm hoping it's something.
Well, it is going to be something because, you know, all chest lives matter. So there is going to be something in there.
That's only technically true. In it's only 247 gold, and that's fine. But in higher seeds, it literally can be nothing. It can be 0 gold. So
yes, Vorpal is trash and will always be trash. Just like Team Steak is the best team out there. And Bane strats are the best strats. Oh, whiz the hags with thunder.
Nothing our runners with 2 ribbons can't handle.
Seems to be easily cut down now, so that's nice.
So we have 2 chests left to find. One of those chests will be the herb. The other one will either be the cube or the tail. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, because both of those items can almost literally be everywhere at this point. We have full sea unlocked, we have full earth unlocked, we have the possibility of the marsh cave, and then we don't have access to sky. And so it's just going to be a matter of how long it takes before our runners, and now we have all the crown chests unlocked. It's going to be a matter of time before our runners figure out where the herb is, what it leads to, and where that last item is. Potentially, the herb could lead to the cube, which would technically put our runners in complete go mode, ignoring the tail potentially altogether. It's going to be a matter of whether or not they are deciding to class change or to not class change. We'll see how it goes.
And RD Platypus, I believe that is because Edge may be out of multi-target spells.
My tracker, Mr. Versetti, slipping me a note into the Randomania commentary booth. Edge has not been to the Mirage Tower yet. He does not have the rod. He does not have that full access to Earth Cave yet. So we will see where he ends up going from here. He is probably going to finish out this Kraken side. Go ahead and knock it out, somewhat for the levels, somewhat for the remainder of the chest. While you're here, go ahead and get that orb lit. But we're going to be interested to see where he goes from here. Does he take a gamble in the Earth Cave, or does he go ahead and hit up Mirage and grab that rod? We know Saltyphry has been to Mirage Tower, but he warped out. He actually does not have the rod at the moment. I'm sorry, he reset out. So he does not have the rod at the moment, but he knows it's there.
Also knows that's where the Excalibur is, so big changer if they end up catching the tail.
Goodness, the Game Racing channel has come in with a raid of 29. Welcome to the semifinals of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament between Edgeworth and Saltyphry. Thank you so much for that raid.
Welcome, welcome, welcome! You're all in store for a fun night.
You know, Salty's heading Kraken side first, but I wonder, Salty has to go check the ladies. You may get a second pass.
Hello, Silverfire, and hello, Math Girl. Hello, Coliosis, as well as hello while you've been here. Yanni mine. And it's looking like they're encountering a bunch of the Red Sahag fights.
It is one of the more common fights, and one of the flags that shuffled, if you guys are new to us, we have the unrunnable encounter shuffle turned on. So what is normally an encounter that is unrunnable gets shuffled to a different encounter in every case except the Wizard Sahag Red Sahag fight. To save memory on the ROM, the programmers put A sides and B sides to these encounters. And so the Wiz Sahag Red Sahag fight is the B side to the Pirates encounter. So those pirates have to remain unrunnable, and therefore the only other known unrunnable fight is the Wiz Sahag Red Sahag fight, which is seeming to come up fairly often. And so now we got our runners high-fiving here.
Yeah, it's looking like Saltyphry. Do you think he's gonna double back down and go see the ladies? Or
he has to. He has to, because he knows he's got 3 items left to find. Like, he's got 3 in his head, in his, you know, note-taking, what have you. He should know he's got 3 chests left to find items in. He cannot leave here without checking the ladies.
We've seen crazier things happen.
Question in chat, is Astos Garland's B-side? I'm going to take Silverfire's answer on that one.
I was going to say, I see the smoke come out of your ears all the way from here. I'm going to go with whatever the majority is, and I'll say, sure, why not? When in doubt, make stuff up. That's how I live this game, right? I've never made anything up for, though, right, Forzondo?
No, not at all.
Yeah, like, the ladies always have something every single time. Put it in the books.
Yeah, chances are they probably pickpocketed off of some some adventurer that came down there looking for treasure.
Hey, they left, you know. That's where I left the key to my heart this time.
Oh, we've got an herb sighting also. So we've got 2 key items in the Sea Shrine, 1 on each side. We have the herb sighted. The herb will lead us to either the cube or the tail. The other is still loose in the world somewhere.
So what are you hoping for? Are you hoping for the tail or the cube?
That's tough at this point. I mean, you gotta hope for the tail to try and get some of those charges on your fighter. To try. I mean, our characters are pretty well leveled, and it's looks like that fighter on Saltyphry's side hit 22. You hope not to get 23, but we'll see what happens. Just to try and get, you know, a handful of charges still. I mean, it's certainly possible our runners are going to get to 28. So probably no fear. You kind of want that tail sooner than later, though. Unless you plan on skipping it. That's the only thing, is if you planned on skipping it, then you want the cube right here, right now, and you just blitz through the rest of the game.
So if you were in a runner spot, and you turn in the herb and you get the cube, do you just get into go mode? Or do you
One is we've not found I don't think have we found Dragon Armor Aegis Shield yet? Because otherwise we're looking at Flame Armor, Opal Bracelet, a couple of ribbons. The ribbons are fine. You don't have to worry about elemental damage at this point. You've got Flame Armor. You've got your Massa, so you don't have to worry about getting Excalibur. White Magic, I can't remember if the Life 2 was in a fighter usable slot. I think it is. If it's a Red Mage slot, it's a fighter slot. So you may want those life charges, because if your Red Mage goes down, you're just mad moding it.
Yeah, I'm willing to say that if you do get it, still want to check some free chest that will be in the area.
Yeah, because I think you got to feel like the mentality, I think, is you always sort of play, you feel like you play from behind a little bit. Once you find out and you realize it's the cube, you think, okay, maybe the other person has already made it through this level of progression. Are they going to check all the chests possible? Are they going to look for all those things? As we're taking our first look at Kraken 1, rezzing those black belts to try and get them to eat some damage. 11 hits for 733. That is definitely a job well done by Rico.
Ooh, this is going to be an interesting fight as well. It's just, I had to step away for a second, come back to see, yeah, not doing too much damage.
Yep, that is a bunch of hits for 95 damage there. He probably should get a cut. Well, the Fades are doing their jobs. Theoretically, this should be fine. So we got a little high-fiving action going on here as both of our runners are in the Kraken fight now, as the Red Mage is now taking a dirt nap. Uh-oh. Don't want to take too many more of those crits. This looks like a high HP Kraken right here.
Yeah, and no matter what he's doing, it's just not going through. This is one of those times where he probably is wishing that he put the Massa on him. And ends up
he gets that bong charge in there, starts getting some of the beefy hit points, but that was definitely a beefier than normal Kraken 1. Right now, the difference between our two runners is Edgeworth has a full clear of Sea Shrines. Salty still has to go check the mermaids. That is, as we've got a high five right here, stepping on the orb at the exact same time. Like I said, Edgeworth has his mermaid check. Salty still needs the mermaids check. Otherwise, that's the only difference between our two runners, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, basically no other major thing setting them apart.
Salty's gonna go get his key. That's really the big difference right now. So Edgeworth is actually going to get to leave here, start the crown chest, do the herb, find out which item it is.
I mean, the only other one is Salty does know what's in the Mirage Tower.
Oh, that is true. I do keep forgetting that Edgeworth has not been to the Mirage Tower yet. Does not know the rod is on Mirage 2F. So it's going to be interesting to see what the play after checking crown chests is.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Salty's reaction is once Salty catches the key there. Also, as well as, would you go through and check all of the remaining chests with that key, hoping to find the tail with those free chests?
I think there's a small handful I'd skip. I'd probably skip Temple of Fiends. 2 mandatory encounters plus any encounters you get on the way. We'll see what it is here. Here it comes, folks. It is the cube. So Edgeworth is officially in go mode at the 1 hour 15 minute mark. The question is going to be, does he go after that tail?
Edge gonna check a couple free chests, and it's looking like once Edge does that, it's just gonna be going.
I have a small amount of potentially. Well, no. Edgeworth is still gonna have to go to Mirage. If he goes to Mirage now, he's gonna be fine. If he goes anywhere other than Mirage now, it's gonna give Salty a little bit of an advantage because he knows the rod's up there. He's gonna get his cube. He's gonna be able to do that full clear of sky.
Oh,
well, no, that's where Edgeworth. No,
Edgeworth's
going to go there. No, that's Edgeworth can go to Sky now too. So actually, that would be advantage Edgeworth because he's not going to make the double dip.
Oh, go back and get that flame armor or flame shield.
As we've got the key with the ladies now, so we are looking for potentially the tail. We're going to see whether our runners decide the tail is worthwhile to take some out of the way guesses. Both of our runners now, well, I should say, when Salty turns in his herb, both of our runners will have access to the Sky Castle, which means they will both go back and pick up their respective rods. So the question would be, is the tail down in the Earth Cave?
I'm going to say it's tucked away in one of those chests that you never check in the Earth Cave.
I think it'd be in Keylock Marsh.
Oh, that's just evil. That's just pure evil. So, Fuchsia, it can be. With catching some of the additional armor, if they are checking a couple extra places, it will be helpful. As well as we know exactly where the Excalibur is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna disagree with it being irrelevant. It is not irrelevant. Life 2 is gonna be a huge pickup on the fighter if he can get those levels. But I won't tell you it's absolutely vital, as we've got Edgeworth now feeding the Titan. If you play Final Fantasy, folks, those are worth some points. Both of our runners have fed the Titan. If you have either of these two runners in your fantasy pool, you are just a little happier today.
It's not an elephant. You're an elephant. He's already checking you. Just remembered that he already talked to the old guy.
Question chat, wonder if Salty checks keylog chests. He doesn't know yet. That's a tough call. That's a tough call, because yes, Edge doesn't know where the rod is.
Edge is doubling back. He's already checked.
Yeah, I think he may be a little lost on where potentially the rod is. Confused old man.
Oh, is he making a run? I think he is making a run over there. Good, he is going to be checking the tower.
This is a good call, because he can at least complete Sky. He can complete Sky at this point, just as Saltyphry can. And I almost expect Salty to just go right there. Salty, I guess he's gonna go check his key chests. That is a good question in chat there. I think it was Elastoid that brought it up. Is would Salty check the key chest even though he knows what the rod is? Because yeah, that is technically the last item he needs for go mode. I mean, unless he values the tail, I just you know, they're free chests. Who knows? We'll find out.
I'm all for checking those extra chests to hopefully get it. As well as we just got the Excalibur.
Nope.
On Edge's side. Oh.
Nope. Salty's opting out. I think Salty's just gonna gun it and run it, which is not bad because the checks that Edgeworth made did not find the tail. So if Salty ends up not checking any crown chests, that's gonna be a small advantage for Salty as they are about to high five here.
I definitely think Salty is running through Salty's head right now is the fact that Edgeworth is, you know, we'll say it, a very strong runner, and possibly feeling that Salty is behind.
Yeah, definitely. Edgeworth was the number 3 slotted person for the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall Tournament, came in 3rd place, losing to X Ice Blue. So definitely a strong runner in a lot of games, even for Edgeworth, but definitely one of the master wizards here of Final Fantasy Randomizer.
So
Demon Frog, just look up.
I'd say I don't think that Saltyphry is going to go and get the X-Cal, and I believe you have it written down for the... can we get another recap, as chat's asking, for the final recap?
Yeah, sure. So as we're making our way through the remainder, our runners are looking for, potentially, the tail. It looks like Saltyphry might be opting out. We will see what happens. But this is the second seed of game number 1. Seed number 1 had a Canaria TNT for 13k, no canoe, no ship, no bridge, no nothing. So instead of grinding 13k, both of our runners opted for a reset. This reset gave us 2 forced black belts and no really good black magic. So it's been kind of an interesting slog for both of our runners in this seed. You will have to watch the VOD because I've not been writing down specifically where things were located. We just know that we have to find all 4 chests to find all of the items. Only the tail is missing. It looks like Saltyphry is opting out potentially of finding major locations. He might check some of these denser rooms, but he might skip 2F here. Or, yeah, Sky 2F here. As our runners are high-fiving once again.
Yeah, this is really just a neck-and-neck race at this point. Levels are essentially the same. They're going to be checking roughly
They're
the same amount of
both
tests.
skipping it.
Right now, it's just going to be RNG.
Yeah, it's what it's going to come down to. And I think both of our runners are in a fairly nice position, having Massmune and at least Sunsword. But both are only going to opt for that Life 2 on the Red Mage, not opting to grab the tail to grab that Life 2 on the Fighter and just hoping for the best. We know that Kraken 2 can get awfully touchy with his tentacles.
But can't you bracken the Kraken, I believe?
Kraken 2 is the same as the rest of the fiends. Those resistances are not weak. They're not weak to those things in their second version. All of the fiends have that same 1.5% chance to be bracked or baned or otherwise, I believe.
So you're saying
stuff like stun still works. Stuff still like stun still works on carry at like a 3% or something like that. But all of those spells are pretty well low percentage.
Yeah, it looks like Edgeworth is getting a little bit Bridge of Destiny right now.
There he goes.
Get some more mech hype.
Get some bless RNGs in chat. Get this Warmech. He's like blitzing right through us and just right before our eyes, blink and you miss it. And he's 2 fights across his Bridge of Destiny, and we may not see a Warmech here, and I'm a little disappointed.
And for Saltyphry, same thing. Saltyphry is going to be hitting the Bridge of Destiny.
Guys, this is a really close race right now. If you caught game 1 between Ice Blue and Arson Horse, you got to see how close of a finish that really was between the 2 runners. This race is getting to be pretty close as well, as both of our runners are in relatively the same position. The only advantage is that, when I say advantage, it's really not. Edgeworth has checked crown chests almost to no avail. That is what basically closed the gap between these 2 runners.
And he makes it through without a Warmech sighting. Switching around the Sun to Massa.
Yeah, it's a good call. You kind of want that power hitter to have the power weapon at that point. You're not clearing trash. You're trying to overcome. Oh, and that's a sleep 2
7
through
for
ribbon right there.
2 hits and Kraken was down, or 2 times around Tiamat was down. Tiamat's relatively soft.
Yeah, go ahead and go ahead and chalk some luck up onto that one. Let's get some of that bad mojo, that bad luck out of the way. That was a sleep 2 through ribbon.
It looks like Saltyphry is getting a little unlucky with his RNG right now.
This metal slime fight's pretty good if you can overcome them. I can't remember what specifically does it kills them. I don't remember. I think it's fire. We'll see if it works here. Yeah, it looks like fire does a bit more damage. This fight's actually a fairly good experience fight, as we've got Edgeworth just flying through Earth Cave now. Oh, thank you, Fuchsia, for correcting me in chat. Sleep 2 is non-elemental. Thanks for the heads up. There are a handful of skills that are non-elemental. I did not realize spells were there were some non-elemental spells, aside from Now, there's a handful of them that still confuse me, like Zap is Time or something like that. It's weird.
So the only place, Silverfire, the only place that the Vorpal belongs is where, for Zondo?
In the trash can!
That's the only place it belongs. And Tyros are best cooked medium rare, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
Yes, and that's it. No seasoning, no A1. Cook it right, and you don't need any sauce.
You want to make sure you get a really well caramelized, piece of meat from the Tyro. Though. Let it cook up, get all nice and rare and juicy. It's delicious.
As we can see now, Salty has cleared his team at fight. A little bad luck on that Bridge of Destiny that set him back a little ways.
Yeah, say a couple minutes, probably 2 to 3 minutes that set him back. Or set Salty back, sorry.
So here come the Blaze Wizards again. We got the 3rd floor and the 4th floor, or maybe it's just the 3rd floor, has the Wizards with Blaze. We'll see if they cause any remote problems for Edgeworth. 2 ribbons should be able to nullify that. But when you get 6 Wizards, or 5 Wizards, I think is what you can get to the upper limit in Earth Cave. All of them casting Blaze can still cause a dent.
So yeah, it looks like Edgeworth is just doing a straight run down to Lich, and we're gonna have Salty doing the same. And really, Temple of Fiends RNG is gonna kind of just catch up the rest of the way. It's gonna be very interesting to see. And chat, what's your guys' guess? Is the RNG gonna take a favor for Saltyphry here, or is it gonna stay on Edgeworth's side?
The way some of these fights are approached can make or break. You can make or break a run. You saw Salty took a couple of extra encounters in that Bridge Destiny, and it set him about, 2 floors back, we can see.
Yeah, and Salty's catching a bunch of unrunnables. I mean, the levels are going to be there. It's going to be in Salty's favor, but here's the thing. Is that favor for the potential extra level or 2 that Salty will have going to make up for that time that Salty's going to be giving up?
I think it's going to depend on just how bad Kraken 2 is. Because I really think it's what it is. You're not going to get the levels needed to get, I think, if you can even get a 6th hit of Massa. Both of our runners are there at, I think it's 20, 21, or 25, whatever that is. Both of our runners, I think have that. Unless it gets you to 25, it gets you that last hit or that next hit with Massa. Otherwise, anything in between there and the higher levels is just purely for HP. As we got Lich down and Vampire down on our respective runners, we have got Edgeworth entering the Temple of Fiends, going to try and grab some levels on those black belts, entering at the 129 mark.
Yeah, we'll just call it 129. And remember, these 2 runners were neck and neck on the Bridge of Destiny at the same time, and then RNG just swung directly in Edgeworth's favor.
Yep, like a bat to the face of Saltyphry, unfortunately. He was stunned by the sheer volume of encounters that he had to take, and that is literally the difference now between these 2 runners. Otherwise, the lead has shifted back and forth a handful of times. Good gambles on Saltyphry's part, meleeing Astos as opposed to finding extra spells, giving him an advantage, giving up that advantage with a semi-tough Ice Cave. And the Eye is not playing friendly, knocking out that red wizard, further showing that it may very well be necessary to find that tail. We'll never know.
This is going to be interesting. If we get another one of those, if the Eye does knock down another one of the Light Warriors, then it's basically neck and neck again.
Definitely. And Kraken has that propensity. We know it's not coded, but anecdotally speaking, we know Kraken's a headhunter for the Life 2 caster.
Green dragons are gas dragons are runnable, which is nice. It's just I don't think they rolled too difficult.
Oh no, the fighters of Nuke! Oh, if he could just get past this floor, you won't see him again, but you've got to run through this floor twice. Once on the way in, and then once on the way out as you're going back past a different area, so...
Buckle up, get your popcorn. This is going to be a fun night.
Nuke fighters is not the worst thing in the world. It just really depends on how many times we see that and how much their propensity to cast spells is. I'm just thankful it's not the bad men with Nuke. So we got Salty in at the 131 mark. About 2 minutes between entrances, but realistically, Salty is a lot closer than that. Unless Salty takes a wipe here, finds some better luck or something. Officially passes Edgeworth right here.
Oh, and runs away from the Phantom.
Oh, non-validated run though. We don't know what's it. We don't know what's in this chest. This run is officially null and void for both of our runners. This run, throw it out. That's it. No one wants to check the validation chest. This whole run is borked.
Buckle up. These guys are back to neck and neck, and it's again just whatever fights they can run from.
Yeah, and unfortunately, fighter red mage tend to typically have poor run rates. So really, this is just the RNG of where they went into, because the beginning of the encounter table didn't really show us anything great, and so Salty just have a real tough time running, whereas Edgeworth has made it through. He does have an unrunnable mud goal, rock goal fight, but Edgeworth really the benefit of luck there as he manages to just blitz right past. That's the other thing. Them. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say one floor separating them right now. It's second at this point.
One thing I just noticed in Edgeworth goes right for the heal potions. I don't think we've seen a lot of great curative magic in this seed, unless he's saving the cure 4s that I don't remember where they are. But he opts for the potions first.
I think Cure 4s are level 1, if I remember correctly. Or I thought that was wrong.
I don't know. We've played 2 seeds. We've played 2 seeds in this one game, and I don't honestly remember which one was which. Fuchsia Fancy reminding us Cure 4 is tier 1. Thank you.
They are literally on our stream. They were going step by step with each other.
And now they're literally on the same square. Here they are, high-fiving, going into Lich 2.
The hits were 77, 5 for 4, 76.
Uh-oh. We've got a semi-beefy Lich here.
Salty's the first one to knock down Lich, and then shortly there, a couple seconds afterward,
guys, we've got a race here. This is exciting. This could easily be one of the greatest races, or they could both fall flat on their face for not finding the tail. Who knows? We've got the defense sword, the power gauntlet, so it's not totally detrimental if the red wizard dies.
And unrunnable fires. Edge got 3, Salty got 4.
And no ice, because they both dumped the black shirt. Ice 2 was 2. They opted for fire 3 instead. So they're purely meleeing here.
Wow. And down to just his fighter.
That is a tough way to go, but it looks like provided Carry doesn't have any nasty bag of tricks, he should be able to get through this, but it's going to be a matter of what happens in the carry fight. We got another unrunnable fires fight for Saltyphry.
Harry's down, only did a little bit of damage with that Ice 2 spell.
Okay, thank you. Chat reminded me because I blink and you missed it. Apparently the fires had Death Touch.
Yeah, I think that's what knocked down the Red Mage.
The Death Touch fires don't care about your ribbon. Does not matter, and that's just unfortunate for Edgeworth. We'll see if he can man mode his way through. Either he's taking this because he probably does not feel like his fighter's run rate is very good. And then it's just easier for him to take the fights, pure melee, than it is to even attempt to run. So now we're going to take a look at Kraken 2 here. Is he going to be slap happy? He gets a charge of evasion up. Ineffective stop. Good sign for Edgeworth. Oh, slow 2 with no fast. He can only power bonk and maybe at best get one hit at a time in. Maybe two.
And Blizzard. Wow. This is going to be interesting.
So you're going to need to just beef him out the wazoo as he gets the swirly right there. And nuclear. 190. Single hit for 190.
Oh.
What? Unbelievable. That Kraken was literally made of shreds of paper.
Wow, talk about a easy Kraken.
That was, I don't know what the lowest let's see, he normally has 1,000 hit points. I think his lowest threshold is 500. Did he do some damage I didn't know about? Because that looked like it was only like 310 or something like that.
I think he might have just gotten that 500. So here's the thing. We've seen nuclear. Are we going to see anything else? Is Tiamat 2 going to have something nasty?
I don't know, because there are 4 nuclears in the pool. So, unfortunately, Edgeworth is trying to run from this fight and just not getting the good luck. Fighter has one of the poor ones as he gets crit. Makes it out of the fight, though. Boy, that could have been scary.
We have Saltyphry going after Kraken. Looks like 921, 10 hits for 921. Was able to cut him down.
Paper Kraken right there. Salty just blitzes right through that fight, moves on. Fast for Tiamat. Gotta load up those defense sword stacks.
2 for 95.
2 for 95. That's good.
Power bonking his way now. How many power bonks you gonna say? 2 or 3?
I'd go 1 more just to be safe, but maybe he's testing the water here.
3 for 315.
You Cure 4. That's fine. That's fine. Everything's good.
The nice thing is that takes it out of chaos. Chaos will
absolutely
not Cure 4.
So we've got a terminated Tiamat 2 on Edgeworth's side. Right behind him is Saltyphry on the Tiamat fight. Probably 1 more round away. Nope. 1 more after this round away. Edgeworth is going to start the Chaos fight right before Salty, but he has only been man-moding the Sense carry with the Death Touch fire. We will see if he can hold up. Chaos hits like paper. Okay, 2 for 128. It's a little more than paper.
Inferno. Okay. Causing a little bit of damage now.
Salty making his way. Advantage Edgeworth right here because Edgeworth only has 1 character to put inputs in for. Salty's got to think about moves and think about things, whereas Edgeworth is going on single-minded focus. Power that guy up. Get him swinging. This could be it right here. And a miss melee. Looking for potentially anything. No, another miss melee.
Keep going.
It's kind of a beefy chaos right here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And
oh my goodness.
What's happening? Hey, there it is.
All right, there it is. Chaos down. Fairly strong HP and strong nothing else in chaos there. GG to Edgeworth. Finishing this seed out with an official SRL time of 1:39:31. We're going to try and get him into the Randomania commentary booth here in just a moment as we are watching Saltyphry go one-on-one, losing his red mage as well. 10 hits, 1123. What a crazy hit that was, but we know he's a little beefier than that. 12 hits for 900 damage. 9 hits for 760 damage. 10 hits for 1157, and that's it. He's down. Goes Chaos.
45 seconds.
That is it. Saltyphry comes in, finishes strong with an official SRL time of 1:40:16.
Yes, to answer the question, Kraken 2 was paper.
That was a crazy Kraken 2 fight. Crazy bad luck on Edgeworth's part to take a death touch to his red mage from the fire elementals on the carry floor and single-handedly man-moding all the way through. We are now joined in chat by both Edgeworth and Saltyphry. Gentlemen, GG to both of you.
GG, Ed.
GG.
Jeez, 45 seconds you two. That was an amazing race. Awesome job.
Thanks. I guess we did a race last night as well, and it was pretty much just as close, I think, in the end.
Yeah, that's not a surprise how close these races are gonna be, but this one felt like a slog. It kicked me in the face quite a bit.
Yeah, you guys had you had Fire 3 to speak of, and that was about it for most of it until you got, enough levels to get that fade going.
I really felt the same way, and like I dipped ice at first, and that went horribly, and left there, and yeah, like you said, like with just the Fire 3, it was kind of iffy. Like I felt like ice would be your best play because, well, fire can generally take out most of those mobs, but then you walk into the wizards with blaze and the unrunnable wraiths just draining all my magic charges, so that went horribly.
So let's wind this back. Let's start this back from the very beginning. Let me get both of your runners' reactions to the 13,000 gold TNT.
Well, that took me a second to even clue in, and I kind of forgot that was there. Like I went over to Dwarf expecting to get an item there, and I got nothing, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I forget something? And I'm like, oh right, yeah, the TNT there. I'm like, oh geez. I'm like, so where are we supposed to grind for this exactly? I never really thought about that too much, because usually at least you can go over to Peninsula Power to get money at that point in time, and it's not horrible, but there was literally nothing at that point in time, just ogres, I guess.
Yeah, I went to Dwarf to hope there was a big money chest, and nope. And I killed an ogre, and I was like, oh, we're gonna do this 250 bucks at a time. This is not good.
Now, which would you rather have preferred? And I know both of you gentlemen finished this seed, and finished well, mind you, but would you have rather had grinded for that or handled the 2 black belts? A little reaction from getting 2 black belts forced.
I have no problem with it. I have no problem running the 2-man strats. The beginning of this made this a little more iffy just because there was no real lack of AoE magic. If you had something a little more decent than just Fire 3, like even Ice 3, I feel would have been a lot better. Maybe even something at level 1 as well. I guess because it wasn't even... Or where was Fire 3? Was that level 3?
That was 2. You had to go all the way to Provoca for it.
Right. Oh, right, yeah. I forgot about my little issues with Astos as well.
Yeah.
That took a few attempts as well.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Since it was the floater, I kind of felt like I just had to keep going. Because I felt like I could just get it down sooner or later with some luck. So I just kind of felt like I should just keep going at it.
Yeah. That was the first real turning point in the route divergence. Is Edgeworth, you moved on to Provoca to check the level 2 spells, in which, given that we saw 1 and 3 and 4, we knew there was a good chance of something good being at level 2. You went ahead and checked. Saltyphry kind of threw himself at Astos multiple times and somehow managed to luckily come away with the kill. He had stun touch and was not treating him very friendly.
Yeah, I think with the horrible encounter table, though, that might have been the play. Like, I don't think you could make an argument either way. Just going through the river and having to reset like 50 times took a ton of time too. So I can see the merits of both approaches.
Well, it was tough because it took him a little while to get the saber strats going. Salty, just talk a little bit about that and how that was a bit of a slog too.
Well, the first time I did it, I used all 4 charges of saber I had, and he hit him for like 100 damage or so on the first one. So I'm like, oh, okay, this won't be too bad. And then he ended up killing me after that. So I'm like, all right, let's try with this with like 2 or so, and maybe my red mage will get more attacks off this time before. Then he started missing a bunch, and then I had to go back to the strategy of going 4 times, just kind of hoping to kill him with the big hits, I guess.
So what do you think?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Kraken 2, Paper Kraken 2. What was your guys' thoughts? Edge, we'll start with you.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, at that point in time, it was just nice to be cruising along. Because like at the beginning was a real slog, like Edge said, but then once I kind of got to Sea Shrine there, I knew where the rod was because I doped out of Sky Castle, hoping that I could find the cube and go pick that up on my way, which ended up working out well. And then I found the herb in Sea Shrine and the key, and I'm like, all right, I don't need the tail, so if this leads to the cube, I can just go at this point in time. And I pretty much had all the possible gear I could want. Like, there wasn't really a whole lot else you were hoping for if you didn't have the tail, at least.
Salty, if you go back and watch the VOD, you will see that the primary difference, and you guys like traded the lead back and forth like, a good handful of times, but unfortunately the encounter table was less friendly to you on the back end of this than it was to Edgeworth. Coming out of the Phantom fight, you hit a number of encounters on that floor, which unfortunately did you in because that's where Edgeworth just sort of blitzed right by you and right down to the earth floor. And then again, when you hit the fire floor, you both hit an encounter of unrunnable fires. But then, Salty, you hit a second encounter of unrunnable fires, like right close to the entrance there, which set you back a bit. What you didn't see was those fires had death touch, and Edgeworth had to man mode it from carry to on. Edgeworth, what were you thinking that whole time?
I was just, as soon as I saw them, because they got me in Volcano as well, and I had to man mode the carry 1 fight, and I'm like, are we gonna do this again? I was debating whether or not to reset, because I did that a bunch of times, because I got nuked and then Phantom killed my red mage, and I'm like, can I actually get this done? I'd better give it a shot, because I don't think I have that much time left. So fortunately, Paper Kraken and then everything else went pretty well.
And the encounter table really was crappy, especially when you consider like there were super cheap cabins in the very beginning. I bought like 40 of them there and basically used none of them because it was never resetting for the most part.
So I
both.
think
Oh, yep. Hey, if you got it, take it.
Speak for everyone. I'm hoping this goes 3. Sorry, guys. I just want to see it go 3 to see another 45-second race difference.
Definitely. You guys both played that Ruby out of Lefane. Did you genuinely believe that one of the 4 chests in there had something, or did you just feel like you couldn't have left there without leaving those stones unturned?
Well, I went there also with the intention of kind of getting some levels as well on the way. Sometimes I'll do that, like think of it as kind of like a pop grind just on the way there. At least I'm accomplishing something instead of just grinding at pop.
So I figured it was a good opportunity. I didn't want to leave those 4 chests unchecked. I felt bad enough about leaving the fire chests unchecked in Volcano, because I was going to go back to those later, and when they murdered me, I was like, well, later is never. That's 4 chests in a cave. That's really easy to check. I don't know, maybe there's good equipment in there too. I just really didn't feel like leaving it behind.
I think that was before I had wasted time as well going to ordeals and waterfall, getting, I guess, what was it, the canal and something else useless.
Yeah, the bridge was in there too.
Right, yeah, that's what it was. Like I went there and like those were the first 2 places I went, I think. So that's why I really felt behind from the very beginning. I'm like, wow, both those places could have been skipped very easily.
Either way, it was definitely a great showing by both of you tonight. Edgeworth takes the early 1-0 lead. Joker, you know what? This has been a great match. What do you think?
Yes, I was left wanting more, and I'm looking forward to the next race. You know, thank you guys for putting on such a wonderful show.
No problem. Hopefully we can do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go, Salty, you know, anything you think you might have wanted to do differently, or any final thoughts that you want to share? Maybe try to do something different maybe for tomorrow?
I'll just kind of keep doing what I'm doing. It seems to be working for the most part. I mean, it was pretty close, not a whole lot. You know, small thing, difference here or there could have changed this race pretty easily, I feel like. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and hope for the best, I think.
And Edgeworth, the man of the hour, the winner tonight. Any final thoughts as you go into game 2 tomorrow?
Maybe no double black belt this time, please.
That is a good call. All right, so as we wrap this up, first and foremost, let me give a huge shout out to OPT Lawyer for jumping in and doing this restream at the last minute. Huge thanks for getting us on the air tonight. Huge shout out to Randomania and the Randomania family of networks. If you like the action that you saw, feel free to give Randomania and its auxiliary channels a follow. If you want to get more involved in the Final Fantasy Randomizer, there is a Discord link that you can follow. Feel free to jump in. We are constantly getting new players, and we love growing and fostering this community. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Feel free to jump in and get plugged in right away. There's always races going on, and it's just a great sight to see the community growing. Feel free to give Edgeworth and Saltyphry a follow. They do a lot of this randomized action. Edgeworth and Saltyphry both play at a very high level in other games as well. So if you like this, don't be afraid to give them a follow. You won't be disappointed. And I think that just about covers it. I think we are going to go over to Randomania 2. Right now, we're going to check in on the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise weekly race for the Joker MB. I have been Sforzando. It has been a pleasure. Have a great night. Be excellent to each other.
Thank you. Good night.